Thank you so much for these wonderful books. You've heard the endorsements. These are loved and useful and valuable books. So thank you so much for writing them. I have had the pleasure of reading them. I have to admit, Rob, I did speedy skimming, but I would love to talk to you both about these books. Both of these engage with significant changes in our society and recent sort of contemporary events on the coalface. Stephen, I'll begin with you and AI and me and God. What was the thing that prompted this book? Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess all of us have experienced various technological revolutions that have come along. Depending on our age, we might have seen more of them than others. And they come through and they sort of reset the game, if you will. They reset parenting a little bit. They reset work a little bit. They reset church and faith a little bit. And I guess I thought that, I think that AI might be the next big one kind of coming in the future. But I guess deeper than wanting to just explore that technological change, I guess it started with the conviction that the Bible does have wisdom, even for the most modern, even for the most esoteric issues, that the Bible can actually speak into something as 2025 as artificial intelligence.
Thank you. I have got one friend who is deeply enthusiastic about AI. She's uploaded ChatGPT version 5 Pro and is using it assiduously. I also have a friend who is very cautious and nervous and, to be frank, frightened about AI. She thinks that AI will eventually mean that she won't have a job. Which one is right?
Are they watching right now? I don't want to offend them. Both. And in a sense, we're drawing on different kind of theological anchors. So the doctrine of creation gives us a sense of profound optimism, that we're made as co-creators, that we're put out there into this somewhat, dare I say, unfinished Garden of Eden to go and work the ground. There wasn't even bushes. They hadn't even sprung up because there was no one to work it. So in a sense, technology, runs right through to the very beginning of humanity and is part of who we are. So some people instinctively will reject technology. I think they're missing something there. So there is a Christian optimism about technology. On the other hand, we're not in the Garden of Eden. The fall has happened, and so sin's kind of entered the picture. And then sin permeates every technology you ever look at. In the history of technology, you'll find a sinful use. So they're both right. It will hurt us and it will harm us in all sorts of ways, but it will also do really great and beautiful things. And I guess history will tell us which one outweighed the other. Yeah,
that's a wonderful, balanced, I think, response to AI. And I hope that whatever you're feeling, that you can kind of counterbalance it with a different perspective. The thing I love about your book is that you use the theological frames that the Bible offers of creation and sin and the cross and recreation as sort of a filter through which we can critique our AI or look at it, reflect it, and then respond appropriately. So I love that creation means that I can actually celebrate our AI and to thank God for the great technologies, but also, sin means that I can be very cautious and reflective of understanding that we can do something terrible with it as much as we can do something good with it. So that was fantastic. Thank you. I have another question. You also use this helpful image of AI as a mirror that sort of reflects our preoccupations, things that we think are important in 2025. What does it show if I look in the AI mirror?
Yeah, it might have been that I was talking about the way AI is trained, where it's actually, predominantly trained by trying to predict human content, human language that's been put up on the internet. So it becomes very much this beautiful multi-billion-dollar computational mirror of human language, and I think human language is an expression of human nature. Yeah. And I thought it was really interesting that the first kind of generation of chatbots came out, and they were actually quite racist and sexist and all sorts of different things and doing terrible things. And you think, wow, that's a mirror of what what we're like.
Yeah.
It's not the only truth about human nature, but it is a truth about human nature. And those chatbots had to be very quickly censored by what's called reinforcement learning, where you try and get them to behave a little bit better than the median internet user.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. Yes, it's sort of it's fascinating not only seeing AI as a tool, but also just sort of what it reveals about what we think is important, what we think about identity, what we think about work and a product versus becoming or journeying on the road to work. So all sorts of interesting things when we look at what it says as well as use it and figure out how to sort of coexist with it. Thank you so much for this really readable, engaging book. I laughed a lot in this book. It was great. Thank you so much. I'm going to move to Rob and your brilliant, brilliant book. This book has so many footnotes in it. It's amazing. I was partly jealous and partly in awe. It's a book that reflects so much breadth of research across not only thinking reflectively about what the Bible says about gender, but also you delved into existing theories from about 1949 onwards about transgenderism and making distinctions between that and queer gender theory. So you read both our tradition, I suppose, and also people who are thinking about it and try and engage it with it differently. Can I ask, what motivated this? Quite apart from the fact that I know that this is your PhD thesis, and I guess you had to turn something in, but what made you decide to focus on gender in particular?
I should tell you we cut out a lot of footnotes for the book, so
Okay, there's more to be had. Yeah.
But about 10 years ago, when I think many of us were working on questions of same-sex relationships and same-sex marriage was being debated and so on. I tweaked the significance of the transgender phenomenon that was then sort of kind of lurking off to the side and realised somebody needed to start working on this. So I have been literally working on this for a decade.
Wow.
I didn't think that someone was going to be me initially, but it turned out to be me in this sense. And I realised not only that we were going to have to make sense of the transgender phenomenon, but that in some ways it was even more significant than the challenge of the sexuality questions, because it was asking deeper questions about what it means to be human and how important our bodies are and what sex means and so on. So, yeah, that got me on the journey. Alongside that, I became increasingly aware of pastoral situations, some of them close to home, some of them further afield. But so I was doubly motivated, one by just the needs of the church and the Christian community, but also specific individuals and families who are being touched by these questions.
Yeah, thank you. Yes, I think as I was reading this, I was reflecting that so much of the things that you speak about are things that happen in conversations at kitchen tables with parents, with their children, in the context of relationships, colleagues. And that's challenging because there's a pastoral element in it. And throughout the book, you are very clear and careful in saying, this is not quite what you're doing in this book, that it's not about a pastoral necessarily approach, but something else. So that it's a work of research and work of reflection and a theological book as well as a book about gender theory. So I guess the question is, how do we make use of this vast body of research? What things should we be looking for when we read your book, and what things should we not worry about finding and perhaps need to find somewhere else?
Yeah, as the subtitle makes clear, this is a response to transgender theory, as opposed to, say, transgender experience.
Yeah.
And so the next book I need to write, and have been asked to write by the same publishers, is the book that is the pastoral care extension of this book. But
are you going to write it?
I've started,
yes. Yeah. Okay, good.
But this book lays the foundation. This lays the biblical theological foundation.
Yeah.
Good pastoral care has to rest on a strong biblical theological foundation. And so that's what this book provides. But fundamentally, I was trying to understand transgender theory, which
Yeah.
is why I went into so much history about where it's come from in terms of feminist roots and postmodernism and other feeders. But the ultimate question was, how does the Bible help us to think about the claims being made by transgender theory, and how does it help us evaluate those and respond to those? So that's what this book is doing.
Yep. Great. I wanted to clarify that, and so that our readers will get the right thing from your book and the appropriate thing. And I'm thrilled that you're going to be writing a partner book that looks at it from a pastoral perspective. So thank you. Thank you both for these books. These are books that are prescient. You started them 10 years ago and quite a few years ago, looking ahead at what is pressing upon us now, and we get to reap the rewards of your hard work and your thoughtful reflection. So thank you very much, Rob and Stephen, for these wonderful books. Thank you.